often doing many things, whether it's working on a home in partnership with Habitat, or you could see us as one of the food banks where we try to help our communities, or just at a local library, reading and educating the youth on financial literacy and how they can become financially stable as they grow up. So that's who we are. We're all about the mission. We're all about the purpose, and this is why we're so happy to be partnering with you guys. In addition, though, we offer many different products, and I'll let here my friend David Morgan give you a little bit about a flavor as to what we do to support our communities.
Thank you. Well, good morning. I'm excited to be here. It feels like home. I grew up in Flushing, and so Frankenmuth was always a spot that was really close to my heart. When asked about what do you want for your birthday, it was always like, I want to go to Frankenmuth. I want that chicken dinner. I was telling my colleagues, I want that half and half ice cream where you're licking the little plastic person that's stuck in the ice cream. And then as a treat, I would get, on the way home, you would go into the basement and get the rock candy, which was always great for your teeth as a kid. But no, it felt like home. And I thought, I really want to be part of this because the affordable housing and what we do at Lake Trust aligns so closely in our mission. And there's two things I really want you to understand when you leave today, that a credit union is a not-for-profit. Similar to a bank, but our mission is not to make money, it's to make an impact. And the second thing that we are is a CDFI. And a lot of people don't really understand what that means, but we are a community development financial institution, which means we are certified by the Treasury Department that we deliver on that mission, that we execute in making an impact in our communities. And in exchange for that execution, we are eligible for federal grant dollars, which we then return back to the community. So those are things when you're looking at how to really make an impact, finding ways to collaborate with a credit union, and especially someone that is a CDFI, that is certified by the Treasury, to help with your mission. So happy to be here, so thank you.
Awesome. And I will attest to the partnership, and that's one of the things that excited me to come to work for Lake Trust Credit Union. I've worked for profit companies my entire career, and this is the first time I ever worked for a nonprofit. And when I heard about the partnership that we have with Habitat, it excited me. I volunteered for many years with Habitat, but to have a partnership that drives real value for real people and the community was super exciting for me.
And if I could just add one more thing, right, to David's point around our certification for CDFI and being able to get grant dollars, et cetera, that then helps us to build and establish products that really serve the communities. And I'll highlight the product we built especially for Habitat, right? We have a mortgage that's very much designated to support Habitat in providing affordable housing to the communities, right? And so this is the power in a credit union and the power in being in the community, purpose-driven, to be able to support everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So with that said, Don, how does Habitat use lending partners to further their mission?
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is, Lake Trust mission statement is a place where everyone thrives, and Habitat does homes so that families can thrive, which really makes it a great partnership. The fantastic thing about the mortgage product that Lake Trust is offering is traditionally Habitats have had to raise the money, build a home, offer a 0% mortgage, and then basically wait another 25 to 30 years to get that money they raised back so that they could put it into the next house. With this mortgage product, what that does is actually allow our homeowners to have a mortgage with a financial institution and start to build their credit scores, do all the things that come along with having a banking or a credit union relationship. And then on top of that, it gets the money back into the affiliates so that they can turn around and take that money that they raised and put it right back into the next house. And it saves a whole lot of work, and it also helps the community that's invested in that first Habitat house realize that their that investment is going into the next house and the next house and the next house. And it's just a huge boom to being able to build more production every year.
That's amazing. And I think one of the things people are probably very curious about is what is on the horizon for a housing policy, and how's it changing, and what's it going to take in Michigan to increase home ownership? I know, totally loaded question. Whoever wants to go first.
I mean, I can get us started. I think we can all kind of go through it. But look, the good news is there's change coming, right? And things are happening. The not so great news is we have a housing shortage in our state of Michigan, right? And in somewhere in the range of about 200,000 units, which is significant. We all would agree, right? And it all comes from two really kind of issues, I would say, is creating accessibility for our communities and affordability, right? Those two, in my opinion, go hand in hand. And so fortunately, there is some change happening to policies. You guys may have seen Governor Whitmer's administration has already started, right? They've committed to creating, like reducing the housing shortage by 50,000. They've started investing in rebuilding and refurbishing over 75,000 units, right? And it's already started with an investment, I believe, of about $1.4 billion to build 10,000 houses, right? Whether it's single family, whether it's multifamily, et cetera. So change is in the horizon, which is great. And these things are incredibly important for us to be focused on because it not only helps the member of the community, right? But it helps the whole community. We know that when people of the community thrive, the community thrives itself, right? So that's what it really does. And I believe we're well positioned, but we do have an accessibility issue, right? And especially when it comes to first-time home buyers. I'm a firm believer that Habitat is incredibly well positioned in partnerships like the one we have and others to be able to solve that. But we definitely have a little more work to do, to say the least.
Yeah, and along with that, I think it's kind of an exciting time to be in the affordable housing market, but it's also a very scary time because of the work that needs to be done. There's so much out there. But with partners with like Lake Trust and MISHDA and the state government, we're able to build more homes, which is huge for home ownership. That's really kind of the key to helping a family thrive. If you look at the graduation rate of children who grow up in a home that their parents own, it's about 116% more likely that they'll graduate high school and go on to college if they live in a home that their parents own. It's also really valuable for employers. We've had, just on the west side of the state, many times an employers come up to me and said they made a job offer, and because the new employee couldn't find safe, decent, and affordable housing in the area, they just turned down the job offer and went someplace else. So it's really critical to the state of Michigan to solve this housing crisis. The cool thing about Habitat and Lake Trust is we are in every community in Michigan, and so we're uniquely positioned along with Lake Trust to be able to solve this problem and build more housing units in every community in Michigan.
No, and I would agree. Lake Trust, we look at not just interest rates as a challenge for affordable housing. There's so much more than that. And so we are looking at making an impact on the local level in so many different facets. For example, as a member of the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indianapolis, we also support and sponsor several affordable housing projects. Right now, in 2024, we currently have 4 separate projects that will significantly impact the supply of affordable homes in Michigan. So I'm excited. Those awards should be granted in November. Hopefully we'll have a press release by the end of the year that will announce those. So those are types of things that we feel that we can make an impact, not just with the family on a one-by-one with this Habitat mortgage that we have, but also through supporting and financing affordable housing projects, not just new construction, but also rehabilitation of existing homes, and then continuing to work with some of the biggest challenges for our families. Down payment assistance is so critical. Collaborating with Habitat has been fantastic because I think it helps educate homeowners who can they go to for help? Who can help me walk through this process? And not just when I need a mortgage, but prior to that, what do I need to be educated on to understand what it's like and what the financial impact would be as a homeowner? So, as we said, the power of all of us can really help make change on a local level. So we're extremely excited to continue to collaborate with Habitat as well as some of our other partners in making that impact.
And if I can just add one more thing, right? We keep talking about communities, which I think is phenomenal. what's exciting about this conference, honestly, being here the last few days, is seeing all the affiliates, right? That's where you all are, is in those communities that need the help, right? And what you all do, and whomever you partner, obviously including us, is working together to understand what are those needs, what are the needs, and how can we best plan to address those needs and not be reactive and wait for things. In that vein, I want to highlight a bill in the House that's currently making its way through legislation, which is 5557. We, Lake Trust, have gone on record to support it, but it really should help and amend the Michigan Planning Enabling Act to require land use planning commissions to consider local housing needs in developing or revising a master land use plan. So we're hoping that's going to help our communities further in their planning as we continue, obviously, all of you. So.
Thank you. And you know, Don, you said something that resonated with me in terms of attracting the newer generation of workers and talent and being able to keep them in Michigan and supplying housing. That struck me when you said there are people that would turn down an offer because they can't find housing. Wow. Thinking about the future, I've been talking to these gentlemen about 2025 a lot lately. So what does the future hold for your organization, and how can we partner together to advance those missions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for the future for Habitat is how do we continue to build more and more homes? How do we repair homes in order to keep people aging in place to be able to stay in their homes? And the cool thing about this conference is it gives an opportunity to talk about all the innovative ways that Habitat affiliates can work with each other. You know, we build a very efficient home. They call them high efficiency homes, which kind of makes me laugh because I think of a high efficiency home built on the coast somewhere with gadgets and those kinds of things. But actually, the homes that we build will only cost about $80 a month or less in total utility costs because we insulate them well. But this conference gives us a chance to talk to all the other affiliates about the innovative ways that we can use insulation, that we can do foundations. But it also gives us the opportunity to talk to each other about innovative ways to finance these homes, to be able to build more homes by using federal home loan dollars, by using the mortgage product that Lake Trust offers, by using the MSHDA dollars, the consumers' energy dollars that come out to do all these things. Habitats get pretty innovative from everything from building net zero homes to wooden foundations. Whoever thought about that is great, because one of the things about a wooden foundation is it's very environmentally friendly, and because we use volunteers, even though it's labor intensive, it doesn't cost us any more to do that. So we stay innovative in that way. We also talk about how Habitats can suddenly start building multifamily homes in order to create more density. But think about it, if you're a single parent with one child, you know, you're pretty content living in a condo if it's your condo to live in, rather than renting an apartment with a whole bunch of other people, and you know your neighbors because they're homeowners next door. So it's just always looking at the next best thing and the next more efficient thing as we build homes.
Amazing. What about you, gentlemen? What's up? What's on deck for 2025?
For 2025.
And how can we advance our missions together?
Well, a couple things. We know that our members are really struggling right now. The cost of food, the cost of gas, the interest rates right now is really making an impact on our members and homeowners. And so we are optimistic that next year rates will finally start to come down more to help alleviate what I would call kind of the housing jam, where people don't want to move right now because rates are so high. They're in a 4% rate. They would love to move. Some retirees might want to downsize, and there's families that would love to have that home, but this domino effect with these high rates are really causing people to stay put. And so one of the things we're seeing, and one of the things we're helping focus on, is people are staying put and fixing up their current home, don't want to refinance, and so we're doing a lot with home equity loans to help them fix up their current home, preserve that interest rate that they have right now. But I'm really optimistic that if we can get these rates to come down, more people will start to move, and that'll help with kind of this housing logjam that is happening right now. So in the meantime, Lake Trust and others have created products. We call it a life loan. We also have something that's a payday alternative, which is an easy cash, because we know people need money now. So we're doing everything we can, not just with the housing and the mortgages and the affordable housing, but helping people that are struggling to stay in their homes right now with unique products, as I mentioned. So that's really kind of our focus for 25, is to continue to support our members and continue to survive until we get to the point where these rates come down, costs come down, and then things can improve with our housing. So
And the thing I would add is, I mean, you mentioned that we're knee deep in business planning for next year and beyond, right? To think about where we go next. And it's interesting. Yesterday, I met with a business owner in Lansing who asked me a question. If I look 36 months, what would success look like? What would I say I've accomplished? And there were three things I highlighted. One of them had to do with affordable housing and helping the communities which we serve thrive. And I specifically highlighted affordable housing and said doing more to help those members, those community members, get into housing. And you know, that's one thing that we're never going to stop doing, right? So as I look what next year looks like, it's continuing to invest in the low to moderate income communities to figure out how we can help find ways to get them into a home, right? Get them into a home where it's affordable to them, it's easy to use, and they can then support their families. I mean, the story we heard last night from Danielle was heart-wrenching, right? What an incredible journey that woman has had because she got the chance to own a home, right? And all of you did that, right? I spent probably about 15 minutes after that talking to her. She was able to finish her school. Her daughter went to school. She was able to accomplish all these things because she had the safety net of a home, right? Which is so key. And that's what the future looks for us, honestly. We talk about innovation. Obviously, that's a big part of my role. But we always look for innovative ways to help communities. I know we keep talking about the loan we specifically created for Habitat, but that's new and innovative. Nobody does that, right? And so we're always thinking about how can we find ways to create those low interest rate products to help the members in the community be able to get into a home. How can we help and think about grants that may be available out there, right? How can we partner with the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indianapolis? Think about what are those grants that potentially can support the communities in putting that down payment down and getting repairs fixed and doing anything to do with it. How can we invest more time in financial literacy in our communities a bit more creatively, where it's actually interesting and enticing for the communities to come and learn, hey, what does the path to financial freedom and home ownership look like for me? And by the way, yes, it is achievable, right? We can help you get there. See, if there's one thing that stood out to me from the story last night from Danielle was, I didn't think that was even an option for me, right? Yes, it is, right? So we have to find better ways to educate our communities and be a bit more creative in doing that. And honestly, continuing to partner. I mean, I know Don and I are both newer in our roles, and what I'm excited about that is we start anew, right?
Right.
We start to build a partnership from the ground up, and not the ground up actually, but from where we are to continue to expand and do more. And I could not be thrilled and excited about, more thrilled and excited about what the future holds based on everything we have going on. So.
Yeah, and I want to add one thing since Carsey mentioned the sorry, excuse me.
That's all right. Crossy, that's
we,
fine.
we were laughing about names last
Yeah.
night, but since he mentioned the the classes and the financial literacy classes, I believe right now the national foreclosure rate on homes for all homeowners is somewhere around 7%, 7 to 10%. A new statistic just came out that Habitat homeowners is at 2%. And it's all that financial literacy that they get before. And again, that's a testament to the partnership that we have on the financial literacies. But 2% is an amazing number and statistic to have. It's very, very low.
That's phenomenal.
That's amazing, and thank you for sharing those stories about the future. You know, one anecdote that I can share is when I started at Lake Trust, I was shadowing our contact center, and there was a call that we got in about a family that was really struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay the bills, and struggling to pay their mortgage through very valid reasons, and we were able to secure financing for them to keep their home. So the member's crying, the contact center rep is crying, I'm crying, but it was single-handedly spoke to the mission of our organization, to helping people thrive. The same with Habitat and the things that we do together to impact the community, to impact families, and ensure that everybody has access to affordable housing. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here today and talking with all of us, and onward and upward, and happy Halloween to everyone.
Happy
as
Halloween,
well.
Cole. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I knew I was gonna butcher your name.
Totally. Listen, no worries at all.